Welcome back, everyone, to the Makers and Founders podcast. We've renamed it. I think we've just rebranded it last time. And I am Les Collegian. I'm here with my co-host, Mark Gallo. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing the awesome Sam Sailors.
And that's the way it's pronounced. I think it's the way it's on the birth certificate.
The awesome Sam Sailors. Yeah, he just goes by his middle name, Sam.
Yeah.
So Sam, give us a little history about you. First of all, just real quickly, how long have you been a part of EO? And you're more newer than I have interviewed lately.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like to say I've been in the EO community for about 6 years because we did start in EOA.
Gotcha.
And then graduated a while back up to EO, but it's been about 6 years.
Okay, well, give us your story. Tell us what you do, and let's get a little history, and then what brought you into EOA and moving. Yeah, and in the EOA, and then obviously in the EO, and then we'll get into the deeper stuff.
Yeah, no, that of course. So let's see. My story is kind of a shit show. It's all over the place. A lot of winding roads. Yeah, welcome to EO.
Yeah.
I mean, I started my first business when I was 11 with my brother. My dad has been an entrepreneur many times and many times over with many highs and many lows. So it's kind of in the DNA, in the blood, if you will. This particular business, it was kind of happenstance. My father and I come from the intelligence community. He was in Intel community for like 42 years. And I'm not even 42 years old, so not quite the same time, but we do come from that arena. The last things I was doing was like information assurance on the cybersecurity side, that kind of stuff. And Rusty ended up partnering with one of their customers at the defense contractor.
Rusty being your father.
Yeah.
To clarify, go ahead.
Rusty. Basically found a avenue or a gray space in the commercial space for cybersecurity and IT services, and partnered with this guy. I thought it was a really cool fit. I was actually looking for a sponsor for my race car, for my race team, a new sponsor. And so I see that Rusty is now this owner of a company called LP3. And I'm like, hey, I need a sponsor. We should chat. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Sounds like your father.
And by the way, we're going to have to get into this whole racing thing in a minute because I had no idea about this, but keep going.
Oh, yeah. But how I got into this specifically, I was looking for a sponsor, and Rusty said no. But I was a little inventive and persistent, and I actually used this game. Some folks might know it. It's called Forza on the Xbox, which is a racing game.
Cool.
And it allows you to create liveries or paint schemes on the car using a bunch of geometries, triangles, squares, curves, all that kind of shit. So I actually created their logo in this game, and I put it on the car. And I've used the screen record and showed the car going through some really fun tracks. And I put together this multimedia presentation that says, hey, for this amount of money, you could, have your logo on the car here. For this amount, you could have it here. And so I came back to Rusty. I'm like, okay, what about now? Will you guys sponsor, my race team now? And they're like, yes, but you have to come work for me. And I hadn't, for this period of time, I think I was talking with my baby for a year and a half. And many, many years prior to that, we weren't speaking at all. So the likelihood of me actually, it's a big move, right? So we had just started to kind of rebuild the relationship. So the for me to come work for him was just not going to work. So I said no. And then he came back to me and he's like, no, this is a really cool opportunity. We really should do this. We need some sales and marketing for this company. We've got some great opportunity here. And that's what I had gone to school for, was marketing and communications. So I kind of saw this avenue where it might be fun. And we ended up working something out. And I worked for my dad and for this other company for 2 to 3 years before they had a separation of, we'll just say vision.
Vision separation.
Yes, a vision separation.
I'm afraid we're getting so far into this where we have to just step back on a couple of things, if you don't mind. First of all, how much money was involved in a sponsorship for the car?
Yes.
That's F1 money?
Yeah.
No, not.
And what? Just tell us a little bit about the racing, so there's some context around. Like, what were you doing? You're like Sam's just doing NASCAR someday, and like, you know what?
So not at this point. So this was more of a grassroots thing. I had done a bit of career in my past of racing cars.
Okay.
Starting very, very early and getting very, very into it. Starting at 13. Actually, my grandfather gave me a car, a 1961 MG Midget. Never ran, but it did spark the I need to go out and race a car.
It's all about Sam is he doesn't get really passionate, follow any. He's like just like a beagle. Is there? I'm not a passion towards one thing and you go dominate it.
Yeah, so but I did. We ended up putting a whole race team together. This was out in Arizona, and had kind of like a club or an organization, if you will, that was all street racers and competitive racers. We did a lot of racing on the West Coast, and ended up racing in some extremely cool environment.
Like Fast and Furious kind of racing in the streets.
Yeah, that's how it started. Yeah, okay. Very much so. Kind of pre-Fast and Furious, actually. We had some really fun conversations with some of the writers and directors of that franchise. It's become part of our DNA. Back with my friends in Arizona, that really was what we were doing. Which was cool. So a sponsorship, to kind of circle back, can range at the grassroots level. We're just looking for like $15,000 to $20,000 for a season. That's not too bad. Right. Some of the earlier stuff, those were $100,000 contracts. But again, I was past the kind of semi-pro racing stuff, and now into the grassroots, doing like autocross and some endurance racing, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
More low key.
Okay, and so you said, that so suddenly Rusty says, yeah, I'm in. Okay. And you're like, but I haven't talked to you in 120 years. And so why? No, I don't want to work for you. That's a deep dive, bro. Like why weren't you in, why were you estranged at that time? I know you're not now. Yeah. What was going on that created that situation?
Sure. What's interesting is I've done a lot of reflection over the last 5-6 years, actually, because of EO, and
Good.
realized I had a lot at fault in this situation. But those who know Rusty, he could be a very specific type of individual to deal with. Mm-hmm. And many, many years ago, he actually helped me and my family with a space to live. I had to move out of the state of Arizona for some legal reasons. It was a little bit Fast and Furious. And, he actually opened up his home and allowed me and my wife at the time to come stay there. Then they ended up moving out. My parents moved out, and we were renting this space from my dad. And we came into some communication issues. Probably the best swatting.
Were you swatting and he had to leave? Yeah.
Well,
more or less.
Yeah. At what age were you when this went down, where it began to dishevel, and where you weren't accountable yet?
Early 20s. So,
well, you can never be smarter than your early 20s. So,
again, this self-reflection, I think, has a lot to do with age and a lot to do with information and knowledge as well. But at the time, there were some rules that I didn't agree with, and it became very problematic.
Yeah.
And we literally just weren't talking. We weren't talking. I actually got a tattoo on my arm of a picture that was my dad playing the guitar to me when I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I was so done with my family and with my dad that I'm like, I'm done with them. I just need something to remember the best times, the good times. So I got this tattoo. Mm-hmm. And we were at some sort of family event that I got talked into going, and I had short sleeve shirt on. He sees this tattoo and he goes, well, that's not real. Well, yeah, it is. And again, I didn't have no tolerance for him, and I wasn't going to explain myself. And he lifts up my shirt and goes, holy shit, that's actually real. And something clicked in that moment, and we started actually finally talking again. And
good.
And a couple of years later, we were working together.
That's great. Well, so I'm glad that epiphany or whatever that was happened, and it's cool that you actually did that, and it's kind of a good way to reflect on the best times of your life versus per se the worst. But I will.
I have some of those tattoos too, but
yeah.
We'll stick with the good ones.
Well, I can tell you. Look, I mean, I made a joke where you're the smartest when you're in your early 20s. Like, I'd say we all. I mean, there's not going to be anyone who's watching this in the world that is like, God damn, I wish I knew shit I didn't now, right? And then I think the accountability is a big part of it. So you're accountable for your actions, and then you say, okay, you somehow commit to working with him at this point.
Right.
And this was to gain the sponsorship.
Yep.
That's a big leap of faith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's we did that for a while, and then they, like I said, had a difference of vision. So they separated. So his partner Scott kept LP3. And we at the time had a bunch of IT clients. That's what we do, IT, cybersecurity, outsourced, that were under contract. And that split was immediate. It was like Thursday morning. They're like, company's done. You're out. But we had these contracts. I'm like, well, we need to do something. So Rusty's like, well, we need to spin up a new company. You should come do this with me or for me. He specifically said for me. And I said, fuck no, I'm not doing that for you. I will do it as partners, though. If we want to spin this up, we will do this as actual partners. And I will work with you, not for you. And we did. And that's how we started Secure Smart Office. And we did that in 2017. And actually, if you know Julian Brandt, during the earlier racing times in San Diego, I was actually his instructor, and that's how we met, which was really cool because he's a phenomenal driver. And he took me as a guest to an EO event. And I wasn't an owner at the time. This was prior to actually LP3. So he just was showing me this really cool world of EO. And I was like, when I need to get there. I need to start a company. I need to do something. I need to buy something, whatever the fuck it is. I need to be a part of this community.
Right.
And so then once we started this new company and we made a decent amount of revenue, I was like, Julian, what do I got to do? Get me into this community. Let's spin this thing up. And that's where EOA came in.
Awesome. And you came into EOA. Let's talk about exactly what was the name of the business. I'm sorry.
Secure Smart Office.
Secure Smart. Oh, that's right. Secure Smart Office. What's your revenue getting into EOA at that time?
We were probably, I know we were just over 500, just under 600, somewhere in that range, which was.
And that's with Rusty that was the same business, right? You didn't spin off, just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
We had a good chunk of clients at the time, and recurring revenue, and we were growing, so for us, that was a good place to start.
Yeah. I was Rusty's coach in EOA.
Oh, were you?
For a hot minute.
That's probably why it took a lot longer to get into EO. We're not gonna get.
It's a 100%. Yeah.
No, but that's awesome. And I'm sorry, what year was that in EOA? That it was. Do you remember?
Yeah, I saw 20. Had to be 20. Maybe. So it was about 6 years ago. So 1920.
Oh, 20.
20?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And so talk about the journey from EOA real quick in EO. And I Mark and I don't like to make this about EO. It's just more about this is just how, because we all know this is a freaking roller coaster. We have our ups or downs, and it's just a nut show, how we do this.
That's all you.
Yeah. That's that's, frankly, that's why we are here. There are more ups. Right, at the end of the day, if you could be in business,
You haven't finished this roller coaster right yet.
Yeah. Right, that's a very good point. So you made it into EO, and what was just that journey like through EOA and working with Rusty on that?
So about 6 months into the EOA journey, I was talking to Rusty and was like, hey, I'm learning so much, but every time I bring an idea that I've learned in EOA that, whether it's from cash day or execution day strategy, whatever it is, I bring an idea back to the company. I say, we've got to do this. This is fantastic. And he's like, I'll think about it. And then, 4 or 5 months later, he comes up with this brilliant idea. And it was like, oh, this is great. It is the same idea I brought up 4 or 5 months ago. So, where these processes, and we'll see a little bit differently. What it really was is we weren't speaking the same language. EO has a very specific language. It's business language, but it's presented in a way that is maybe more specific. I mean, that's just what it is. So I asked him, hey, you should join EOA so we can at least start talking the same language.
Great idea.
It was awesome. It was a game changer for us.
Sure.
Like significantly so. So instead of 4 to 5 months of a good idea that I bring to the table, it would be maybe 4 to 5 weeks, which is fantastic. Yeah. That is a huge improvement.
In the world of an engineer, that is fantastic.
It was a massive increase into our productivity and our efficiency and all that kind of stuff, because it's good content and it's good ideas, and we want to bring that to the business. So graduating into it, it was actually really cool because we did it obviously at the same time. We both jumped into EO, which was really special. Were we the first? At least in San Diego, we're the first father-son to graduate into EO.
Yeah,
which is it's cool.
It is cool. And again, talking about your story past, to be able to then be able to come together for something, for an experience, and then be able to see that through.
Yeah,
that's a really cool experience.
I mean, and truth be told, I mean, I think that experience is better than the business. That level of connection to come back from that. I mean, and
partnership dynamic is always so challenging at its own levels. I mean, I know I've gone through them in my past, and just trying to navigate that. And then he's also my best friend.
Yeah,
and so, add an extra layer of dynamic of parent a little bit. Yeah, it's an extra. That's another layer. And next you know, you have a shit sandwich.
Well, you kind of don't realize what you have when you have it too. Like, look, my father was absent starting at age 9. You never saw him again. You know what I mean? And so it's us understand, like, having that, having that ability to kind of reconnect like that and learn from that. Because, granted, I mean, every parent like that you get an argument with, they're doing the best they can, and there's no book. I got a kid. I'm trying. There's no book, and so as you mature, I think that relationship bonds gets closer, right? Because as you get closer to age and him, which you're not legitimately, but you are mentally, right? And so that's interesting. So what and to that point in working with him, so you're in EO. I love the fact that I could talk to Rusty and you in EO. What are dude, the challenge has got to be a shit show. Let's just be honest. Like we did a podcast with Nick Apostolopoulos, my best friend for almost 30 years.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I've had 30 years of practice. It's like playing piano. If you do it that long, you're going to be good. Whereas there's a lot of times I just can't work with him. And the reason why is we're so close that we almost don't trust each other. Like you got to listen to me, and it's hard. So do you have that situation going on with your father? Or Rusty, I should say. I apologize.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Father, Rusty, it's, same difference. Although we are really specific about father-son stuff after that 9 to 5 piece. We are intentional about it. And it becomes...
That's great.
It's because we've worked out those, for better, or lack of a better word, boundaries.
Yeah.
Where, I'm Sam, he's Rusty between 9 to 5.
Well,
but the son, the father thing comes after. And that's really helped. And we did run into a lot of issues with that father-son dynamic, mostly from and I've learned a lot, especially the last couple of years, learned a lot about those boundaries and a lot about, I do have a voice, I have good ideas, I have concepts, I'm actually really good at what I do. So give me that space, right? So if you're going to trust me to be a partner, trust me to be a partner. And it's, take the family dynamic aside. I'm fucking good at what I do. So let's trust that.
Yeah.
And that was really challenging, especially early on to get past. I had a lot of other projects that I was working on just so I could have some ownership of my own personality, my own life journey. I had these other businesses because there I was the decision maker.
Well, I'm assuming that, obviously you guys have different work ethics, different commitments to the business, things of that nature, right? I'm only speaking from personal experiences, partner dynamics, that's bad.
And also different superpowers, right?
Yeah.
And so what are those complementary?
100%. And I could tell you, I know from personal experience on my side is those things don't always have the same communication style.
Yeah.
And they don't, and inevitably what I'm learning, what my partner and I are learning is that we need to spend more time together on a personal level. And when we don't have those times on a personal level, that's when we tend to break down as a partner level.
Yep. We ran into the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And we started doing, we literally go to coffee once a week, every Tuesday morning.
Yep.
And it's 100% family related. If we bring up work, we raise the flag. We're not going to talk about work. It's an hour and a half max. And it's just on trying to foster that relationship.
It's like getting to your 5% in forum, or call it, or your what's it, non-gestalt.
Yeah.
It's like
no tangents. Right. So that's too close.
That's great.
And it is specific.
Complain about your partner in this meeting? Did you say it? Can you complain about your partner at Bobby B?
Yeah. Only if it's a family base. If it's about family, then yeah. I didn't like what you did at dinner.
But did do that intentionally because the communication styles are different. I mean, I'll say he is a very classic, old school. Not just on the work ethic, and I will say that our commitment to the company is the same.
Right.
We are both 100% committed, and if not like overly committed to the company. We really are aligned there and aligned on a lot of the vision for it, but the communication style is different and the way we go about it is very different. So he has that old school mentality. He's used to spending time working with teams and just walking from door to door down a hallway, to collaborate and talk and that kind of stuff. Well, we're 100% remote, so he's not getting that same,
It's tougher on older crowd. I mean, including me. You're Rusty's older than me. I don't know if yeah. Is he a boomer or Gen X? I don't even know how he's a boomer. Okay, yeah. So I don't know how long Gen X goes, but like he's older. He's old.
The 70s, where I think Gen X started.
No, I'm Gen X. I'm 69. So the best year ever. So anyway, so basically, no, but I do feel that there's a big, often disconnect in how the different generations have dealt with society and how it's changed, right? And like what I want, like, we joke about, like, if there was a job opening, I'd be like, oh, you're hiring? I need a job. That was it. There was no like, are you sustainable? What's my 401k plan? Am I going to learn? I didn't care. I was just like, I'm going to make money.
Yeah. What's your career path?
Yeah. So do you end up, and then I wonder, that's where I think the partnership and kind of where I'm going with this is that is it difficult, not only because he is technically your father, and he is going to teach you as a father, where there's a disconnect on that level of partnership. Like, does that make sense? Because you're just I'm not making this shit up. He may never say this. You're just a kid. You don't know, right? I've been there. I've done this. I've done it for 40 years. Like, does that come into play in these situations? And I wouldn't be surprised if it did, because I might do the same.
It 100% comes into play.
Yeah.
And earlier on, specifically, it was a challenge, but my mentality has changed, and then maybe you mentioned before the podcast, I am a little bit more relaxed these days, and I have had a mindset shift over the past about a year, where those types of things that used to annoy the fuck out of me, because I'm like, I have life experience, I have a skill set, I know what I'm doing, but you're trying to force your perspective anyway.
Right.
That caused a lot of conflict. And then I realized I'm not first off going to change him at all.
Yeah.
And then I started just looking for where is the value, where I don't have to take the direction that he's presenting, but I can listen. That mindset shift really, really did help, because it was just a huge challenge. I mean, there were moments a couple of years ago where we almost split because I just couldn't tolerate it anymore.
Got it. Yeah.
And it's a challenge because, this is Rusty's retirement plan. This is, my mom's retirement plan. This is my sister who lives with them. It's all connected because this business is how they're going to survive for the foreseeable future, right?
If not, they're under.
Did
100%.
Did you or Rusty ever do through forum training or moderator training and all that stuff in EO?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did. I mean, we did forum train together.
Okay.
Granted, we knew what to talk about in forum training,
Right.
and that was kind of not what we would talk about necessarily in forum, but was still vulnerable and deep and that kind of genuineness. But we did go through that. Yeah.
I only.
Forum, sure.
Well, yeah. I'm only bringing that up because I wonder. You brought up something really interesting to me about your family time and coffee, right? Yeah, I'm listening. So you raise your hand like, hey, you're talking about business. Fuck off. No, not right now. Are you able to use the training you've learned, for example, in experience shares, to take something like, if I say, Sam, this is not how you do it. You do it like this, where you say, okay, wait, I need you to rephrase that as an experience share and sell me on, why. I'm willing to take your opinion. This is the way you do it, and that's why I'm doing it that way. But if you give me an experience share that I can understand, that might redirect and position this, it would make sense. Does that happen ever because of your training?
Yeah.
Together.
So not to sell the value of EO, but
Yeah.
I will say,
Right. Sponsored by McDonald's.
part of the advancement in the ease of communication between both of us is both sided. So I think he's already using those tools, whether he is understanding that he is or not.
Yeah.
That is having an impact on the way he communicates, as the way he communicates ideas. It's not, we're doing it this way.
He's been Jedi Mind.
He's been Jedi Mind.
Yeah.
So I really do think that, hey, join EOA, so we're speaking the same language, has made a dramatic difference in those types of conversations. It happens every once in a while. It just does, because you fall into old habits. But we are able to navigate that a lot smoother than we were 10 years ago. So
Good.
in that,
Good.
it has made a difference.
So what are some significant lessons you've learned along this new relationship, and how have they affected your business? Or maybe things you wouldn't have done previously that you, well, that would have made sense. Or
Yeah.
it could be anything.
Are we talking about just going back and rearranging time?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well,
Like we're gonna change motherfucker.
yeah.
A little bit. The biggest changes have come on how I react or don't react.
Excellent.
And I found that it was actually at a recent EO talk that something kind of clicked, where, how I associate with my happiness or sadness with how the business is doing. That is a huge thing for me, because when the business is doing well, and I didn't even realize it, I was the best person to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when the business struggles, because I'm so attached to it, because it defines so much of who I am,
Yeah.
whether I like it to or not, I was harder to be around. Right? I'm just an asshole. I can be. Surprise. I know.
Right.
Well, it's because the business is just amazing. But I was too attached to that aspect. And there was a great communication point that came up. Like, when the business is doing well, it's great that you're happy, but that's not what the team needs, right?
But how does that happen? How do you disconnect your emotional status from the business?
Glad you asked that. It came to redefining success. So for me, and this happened probably about a year ago, which is why my dynamics have changed. I feel they have.
Mm-hmm.
So me now, success is defined by joy. It's literally how much joy am I experiencing on a day-to-day basis? Is the work I'm doing elevating? Is it exciting me? Is it, or is it costing me energy during the day? I need to make sure that my team is joyful, that my home life is joyful. The things that I'm spending my time on bring joy. And that when I redefine success as, wait, am I feeling joy right now? Doesn't it? It's just,
I've built through the same process where it's like, listen, there are things that drain your battery.
Yeah.
There are things that keep your battery regulated, and there are things that fill your battery.
Yeah.
And I think one of the benefits of being a business owner that's in an established business is you can create, like, listen, in order to be in a space where you don't have to retire, like, do you feel this whole, like, I've got to get out of here? If you're in a constant space of filling your battery, well, then you never work again.
Yeah.
You're really never in that space. If you're in a space where you're constantly doing the draining your battery stuff, well, then you have such a huge driver towards, I do get out of here.
Right.
Because it's eviscerating you. I did a little spreadsheet and broke down, these are the things I really enjoy about the job. These are things I'm okay with. These are things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And then I took that, I put that through ChatGPT. I said, this is a new business. This is a new job. It's a new job title. I need to find out that job title and go hire that nurse.
Yeah. The problem for me, though, comes when you still have a shit ton of stuff that you don't like to do that is necessary. And maybe your company is not at a resource level where you can hire that out or offload, delegate that.
Right.
So then it comes to reframing. Okay, how do I attach that shit job stuff to a passion, to a larger picture? And reframing that really helped me as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm processing payroll. I don't fucking want to process payroll and go after somebody for not putting their hours on their timesheet, but I have to. So how do I align that better with what the company is actually doing, how we're serving people, how that the company itself is following the passion, and trying to associate that takes an effort, but I found that actually helped a lot.
Okay.
I don't want to sound condescending, but I'm proud of you. I mean, because honestly, I think it took me a lot longer to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I operate by the same philosophy. I used to stress like crazy about business. And the weird thing I found, and I don't know if you found this, like, when the business is going really well, you tend to work harder and you enjoy. And for me, when my business was on the downslope or failing, or I owed money or whatever it was, I would retreat and just like try to hide, and say it'll fix itself. And I mean, things work out, but like it's a huge challenge. And I think that living that philosophy of just happiness and like, it's not about your business, it's about everything else, and living every day for the best day it is. And if you can enjoy that, that's incredible that you figured it out at under 42, right? Because it took me a little longer.
I do have to remind myself though.
Yeah.
I've had those days.
Yeah.
When I see that trend or I feel something just slightly off, I go back to what did I forget to do? Did I not journal today? Did I not, put out my task list? Did I not, whatever it is, did I not get enough sleep? Did I not eat right? So I've been at least able to identify those little trigger points that are, because I do retreat. I do disassociate because, I'm not finding the joy. Well, it's not going to change anything, but I run into that all the time. I'm not saying it's an easy thing. It's a struggle.
Well, the bad news for you today is it's not going to change. You're always going to have to remind yourself and you just get better at it. It's just like anything, and you'll pick up a different hobby or whatever it is, but you'll figure it out. Yeah. I always say my boss is an asshole, that's so, okay. So moving forward today, what are some challenges that you're having with the business that you're trying to deal with? And how are you dealing with it? And is it going well in the partnership?
So it is going well in the partnership. I think it's actually been the best that the partnership has been ever. So I'm actually really happy, really proud of that part.
Good.
The challenges we're running into specifically in the business are we have, and it's going to be a little niche. Our product is very standardized. It's very, very specific. We know we can go and deliver ABC into a customer environment and it's going to work and everyone's going to be happy. And our target market that we've trusted, through the exercises of going through and identifying target market, who's buying, who's happy with our product, all this kind of stuff, we were really hyper focused on legal and financial services. And because our product should work very, very well there. And for the most part, it does. But no offense, but your financial service companies and legal companies are a fucking mess. And they see They see
Where was this art?
they see A, B, and C, and they go, "That's perfect. That's exactly what we need. Please come in and help us." Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then 1 month in, they're like, "Well, but we also like L.
Yeah.
They also like M. And B is cool, but what if it's B with like an apostrophe?" And okay, now we're removing parts from our a little bit. So what we're doing now is kind of refocusing, because that cost us so much money in engineering time. It costs us in customer satisfaction, and it's not helping us scale. So what we're doing now is trying to, instead of going after or defining what our target market is through the traditional ways, we're trying to figure out, and this might be part of it that we just had not experienced before, but we're trying to figure out who's not going to fuck with our shit.
Yeah.
Who's going to accept our standard package?
Who's going to fit into our cookie cutter?
Yeah.
That's replicatable and repeatable.
100%. And it's still going to help. It's help the customer. It's still going to, provide what they need, but it's going to be easier on everybody.
And it does give you the opportunity to say no to people. That's not a good fit.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that when you go from EOA to EO, the theory is that you're in a space where you can actually go into a prospective new client and go,
Yeah.
It's just not a good fit.
Right.
And I think that as a budding new business for anybody, they're constantly in a space where they have to be everything to everybody at all times. And what happens is you end up having this big, almost shotgun approach at how you handle service, you name it.
Yeah.
You can't scale that. That's not replicatable. And so kudos to you for understanding, all right, this is my lane. Whoever wants to fit in my lane, I'm going to do that lane really, really good.
Yep.
And kudos to you for that. And it took me a long time to figure that out as well.
Yeah. And especially because we were earning business in what we thought was our target market, and things were working. So we're like getting new clients, and I'm in the arenas that the target client participates in, at these golf events, at, networking events, whatever. I'm there. So I'm feeling like I'm doing a really good job and we're earning new business. But then, 4 months down the road, things start to teeter and start to become more challenging. So we've at least been able to identify that, and we were able to identify that as partners. We had strategy sessions, and we're like, on paper, this should be working really well. But Our engineers are getting frustrated. Our staff are getting frustrated because people keep calling with the stupidest shit. That
For Microsoft?
Thank you. I mean, you called it, you said it. I wasn't gonna call you out on that, but yes. So we're like, how do we fix those things, and how we even identify it? So that's one of our biggest challenges.
SharePoint. I could just say that and be like, here. So yeah. Anyway,
Who's here?
yeah.
That one. The other challenge that we were just now overcoming was customer concentration. We fucked that up pretty bad. We had one customer that equated to almost 40% of our recurring revenue.
Oh wow.
I saw it as a potential issue, and I tried to rectify it, but wasn't able to in time, and that royally screwed over our business. Like,
So you mean loss in revenue?
yeah, because
Yeah.
they left. They came under new management. Nothing that we did wrong at all.
Yeah.
The people we were working with loved us.
Yeah.
They brought in a new board of directors for this nonprofit. They had no idea who the fuck we were. And they're like, we can do this in-house. And we're like, no, you can't. And they're like, we think we can.
Yeah.
And then in a month, 40% of our revenue was gone.
Yeah.
Remember being on my boat ride with you afterwards?
Yeah, that's
I had to put a life jacket on you.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So now part of the struggle is just to making sure that we can recoup that revenue, but without putting all of our eggs in one basket.
Sure. Yeah. I think the rule is like no more than 10% of revenue should be from one client or something to that effect.
In that we didn't follow that rule.
Yeah.
But seriously, would you give it when you're presented an opportunity to pick up a gangster amount of new revenue?
Yeah.
That's hard to be able to say, no, that's going to be an overcome.
No, yeah, you're not going to turn it down, of course, but it's the challenge that you have to face.
So even worse, that one came to us through acquisition. That they weren't in our target market. We didn't actually go earn that customer. We bought an IT company, and they're like, oh, and it comes with this much revenue. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. Sure, we'll do that. We'll take that. Which again worked out well for a long time, but yeah.
Well, so going back, this is normally Mark's favorite question about the superpowers, right? Yeah. And I have to say, like, I have to know between you and Rusty, how do you complement each other? And what are the differences? Like, man, like Rusty, if I wasn't here, this would never get done, or vice versa.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I thought we were avoiding these, but that's not way.
We said we're all concentrating on them.
So we implemented EOS a while ago.
Okay.
Because we thought we had a visionary and implementer. What we ended up with was two visionaries and one person who accepted an implementer.
You mean integrator?
Integrator, sorry.
No worries.
Integrator role. We haven't done it in a minute because we failed miserably.
Fair. That's fair. That happens.
Yes. Excuse me if I don't know the terminology of the time.
At least you write a check for something you're not implementing.
You were trying to implement EOS, but you need a visionary and an integrator.
Yeah.
Got it.
And instead we had
Two visionaries.
So I had a visionary with integrator traits, who was me. And that caused some confrontation and some issues and a lot of turmoil. So we both are strategists. We can see the big picture. We can see the path to get there. More often than not, though, there's a big idea. He fosters that idea and says, go make it happen, which is where we thought that the integrator would be a good fit for me. Because of the two of us,
You're the better one.
I'm the one that's going to go make it happen.
Yeah.
Is there somebody out there that can do that job 1,000 times better? Absolutely. But in our current roles, that's
But just real quick, Sam, my experience here on that is that the biggest mistake I've made is not having a solid integrator, and trying to put visionaries in the integrator role.
Yeah.
That has been my mistake, and but the problem is the greatest integrators are hard to find, right? And a little bit, and to me, I'm a visionary. I think the integrator is more important. And so
you can get high and come up with a great vision.
well said. So okay, and so that's that. What is his superpower perhaps over you, or do you not know?
I know for sure.
Yeah.
So
beyond experience.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say experience, but no, that is, and his ability to connect that experience to modern problems is exceptional. But he's a process guy. He really can see how a company in general operates and be like, well, why don't you do that? And then all of a sudden goes,
Well, hold on then. Is he an integrator disguised as a visionary? I mean, because a process is the...
Yeah, no.
Everybody needs a doer.
Yeah.
He can see it 100%. And truly, I've never seen anybody that can see that type of thing better. Okay? It's amazing at it. But he needs to be able to say, okay, now, John, execute. Go do this.
God.
Okay, it's not the same.
He says Sam. Uses the word Sam.
I specifically didn't say Sam. It's so obvious when you look at our two homes and our garages and the amount of different projects that both of us have, that we have every tool necessary to complete the project. We've spent thousands of dollars on the right types of things to complete these projects, but we have 40 fucking projects that have just never gone.
Well, when you're ready, they'll be ready.
Yeah, one of these days.
Yeah.
So to me, that's two visionaries, and we need an integrator to actually come execute.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my partner and I've gone through that. He's definitely 100% the visionary, and then I'm definitely the integrator. You know, which is great.
That's wow. Lucky you.
Oh, did you hear my surprise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Who knew, right?
Yeah.
I just have a great, and in this role, I am the integrator. The two of you are the more, absolutely more the integrator, and we struggle with that all the time though, because again, it's the integrator's job is to get it done. Yeah. But I was like, so I'm a partner, so I want to do it my way, and that's where we tend to fight.
Yeah, I struggle with it, but and I have to force myself into these lists, these to-do lists, these calendar blocks, these it's very frustrating. Some people thrive in that. My wife thrives in that. She would be the best integrator in the world.
Yeah,
she'd be so good. She just can't work in our company right now. That would be that.
Kid would run my business at that point now.
Yeah. I mean, they're out there. I know they're out there. Yeah. And trying to force myself into that is exhausting. It's one of those things that my superpower is trying to reframe that and trying to attach some sort of passion or excitement to those types of things, those little rewards. But yeah, those are our challenges.
Wow. Well, what would be the biggest regret you've had, as a part of this journey? Or in your life, you could say.
Are we talking the Sam Sailor's journey?
Well, the I was talking about the business journey, but it can be Sam.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've only recently had a new relationship with regret. I was always one that refused regret because I like where I'm at, and I was like, oh, if I changed anything, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah.
But again, somebody at a EO talk talked about regret, and regrets are important because then you learn from it.
That's right.
Where wisdom comes from. It was like, fuck, okay, I'll try to think that through. I could talk about the 2 marriages prior to my third one, my current one. Third time's a charm. There's some regret there. There's some regret from a parenting perspective, being a single dad for a long time. There's a lot of shit I would redo there. From a business perspective, even on the partnering agreements, I would change up some of that. I didn't know enough. And it's hard to say regret if it's a knowledge thing. Sure. I just didn't know enough at the time to make a different choice. Yeah. It doesn't mean I can't learn from those situations. It's based on what I know now.
Yeah.
Life experiences are some of the most successful.
Well, and I'm with you on all that. Saying like I'll regret like something maybe I did with Jacob, as a child, and I'll cringe. I'm like, why'd I do that? Like that was, and it's just as a single dad, and you're trying to figure out all this stuff. And there's no book, unfortunately.
I think we never have seen never, or we're at this book.
Yeah.
Regrets within the business. I know that we've hired some people based off of how I feel about them.
I have all those regrets. Trust me.
That sucks.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot about hiring. So some regrets there that have been very, very expensive. Even bringing on some customers who I didn't even at the moment feel good about it, but it was almost I should have said no, but they fit a lot of the check box.
Yes, you think you train them out of it. Yeah, it's similar to the way my wife married me. She's like, so many red flags, but yeah, I think we fixed that. Yeah.
So I mean, those would probably be the biggest ones. I do have a tattoo I regret pretty significantly, but for the most part,
that is why I never got tattoos. Yeah, I never knew. That's the one not regret I have. It's because I'd probably regret
it. Mine is of a brand, and if I would have thought about it differently, maybe I could have gotten some endorsement money from them or something if I'm going to wear their brand.
Still be free.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so we're starting to run out of time. Do you have any additional questions that you haven't thought of?
Don't jump to you, man.
I know, like Sam, yeah, this was an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And I just say, let's end it with this way, okay? Things are going well. Of course, there's going to be ups and downs. You're going to lose a client. You're going to gain a client. I mean, we all do. And by the way, to your point, that happens to me as an agency all the time. The director of marketing that I'm working with leaves. The new one comes in. Yeah. They've got someone they work with. We get fired, and we can only hope the director of marketing is able to take us to their new business, which also happens, right? So that does happen. Where do you see the business going for you and your level of success? And let's just say the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. So, and I'll be transparent. It has to accelerate quite a bit. So we're confident in the new approach as far as the target customer.
Yeah, the niche approach.
The niche approach.
Good.
And in scaling through quantity, but quantity, but as many of these smaller, because we do focus on small and medium-sized businesses.
Yeah.
A good chunk of our customers are under 10 employees.
Got it.
But that means that we need 1,000 of those.
Sure. Yeah,
But
to scale it. Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned earlier, this is my family's retirement plan. Right. And he doesn't have a massive 401k to fall back on. He doesn't have, this is it. So our 3 to 5 year, it's really more on the 3 to 4 year plan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Has to just accelerate tremendously.
Yeah.
My dad is getting old.
Yeah.
My mom wants to retire. She doesn't want to do her job anymore. So we have to buckle down.
Feel that pressure.
Yeah.
A little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Just because, again, they'll end up on my couch. My sister might be, she lives with them. She's not coming on my couch, so I don't know what she's going to do. And my brother's this singer-songwriter actor traveling the world, so he's not going to take care of my parents.
Yeah.
So it has to scale rapidly. And then we have a 2-part exit plan. So the first part is getting Rusty his side of the sale. So that he can actually live out the rest of it.
I'll tell you, first of all, I played pickleball with your mom. She's great. Second of all, I have to say, it's you guys won that tournament, though. You and Hannah Ship. God damn, I shouldn't have said that. But I have to tell you, like, I will say that, and I don't mean to sound like, to me, Rusty's not old, but, it's aging parents is a difficult one, and going through that. And understanding, especially if you have siblings that aren't going to be around. I was an only child, so I had to deal with it myself. My mom lived with me for 15 years, which was tough.
How did she survive?
Tough. Which is why how did she? Exactly. Well, it was a big enough house. Let's just say that. So, I get that. And I understand that. Man, that could add stress just in that and thinking through those things. I mean, obviously, we just wish you the best of luck on that. And I think if that, not that what I say is great, I think niching is the right thing to do. I didn't used to, I really didn't, and I've started to in my own company, and it's paying off. So I think that's a great call.
Well, if you think so,
yeah. If I think so, it's great.
Going with it.
Yeah. That's why we were running the podcast.
Yeah, right. Well, if the board says it, it's got to be true. All right. Hey, Sam. Awesome, dude. Love talking to you as always. Love spending time with you as always. Thanks for your time. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.